Following a brief respite from the main plot last week, NCIS, Tony and Ziva returns to the protagonists, Cote de Pablo, attempts to clear their names following the theft at Interpol. The two primary antagonists of the spin-off, rogue Interpol agent Martine and even more rogue Interpol Secretary General Jonah, are given more backstory this time. Tony and Ziva's next objective is to discover why the criminals are pursuing the private defense corporation raining fire. Episode 7, Dark Mirror, begins right after the attack on Tali and Sophie in the safe home in the previous episode. This episode switches viewpoints between the main group and the antagonists, and although the flashbacks can be confusing, we can eventually decipher their true motivations. In 2014, Jonah and Martine first met at Raining Fire's annual weapon convention, which was hosted by Aaron Graves, the company's cold-blooded leader. Their romance and chemistry blossomed, and they returned year after year, innocently growing closer until 2016, when Martine had to leave abruptly after seeing someone she needed to silence, fatally. Jonah then walked in on her killing the target, and to her and our surprise, assisted her in burying the body. Martine was a secret agent who was recruited to the agency at the age of 16 by her brutal father. One mission for Raining Fire involved the death of a group of children, which was unavoidably buried, igniting Martine's vendetta against the company and Graves. To top off their twisted relationship, this bonding experience led to a hot and heavy night next in a jeep near the freshly dug grave. How fitting. Throughout the episode, we gradually gain more details about their backstories through flashbacks and conversations, which are made more engaging by Benchiku and Avenden's developing performances. Because of her experiences, she probably had a soft spot for kids, which is why she wouldn't let Jonah target Tali. In contrast, Jonah's family was attempting to flee a war-torn nation when his brother, a programmer, broke into their seats on a charter aircraft. Jonah will never forget the moment they encountered Raining Fire mercenaries on their way to the airport, who used a grenade to assassinate his brother. No matter how traditional their backstories are, we will always feel some pity for them. The two spent each year following the 2016 altercation attempting to obtain additional proof against Raining Fire in order to start an investigation and bring them to justice. By 2023, though, Interpol was still refusing to accept their innumerable pieces of evidence. Why would the government seek to remove Raining Fire if they were the main contractor? That becomes their pivotal moment, when the activists become ruthless vengeful seekers prepared to go to almost any lengths to obtain it. Naturally, Jonah's brother's aptitude for coding also served as inspiration for the creation of 9.4 shortly after. Tali is ultimately given greater storyline involvement in the present timeline when Tony and Ziva let her remain in Milan, but this is quickly undone when they discover they must go back to Paris. Boris and Claudette, the hacking crew, predict that the villains will attend the yearly armaments conference in Paris. This leads to Boris's famous statement, "Revenge, a dish best served Parisian." They choose to remain at Ziva's therapist's apartment since they are unable to travel to their own residences, but the only person there is his partner Archie, who also works as a child psychologist. After they set up shop, Ziva leaves the apartment to enter Martine, Jonah, and Deon's topic apartment using a traditional bullet bug. We appreciate the change from high-tech. Ziva is on the phone with Sophie talking about her love life, more specifically, Tali's statement that she doesn't want her parents to date again, while she successfully shoots the bullet into the flat. At the same time, Tony is being really honest with Archie at the apartment about, wait for it, his feelings. As it turned out, Tony only required a child psychologist and his play techniques to connect with his emotions, and the spin-off was the ideal way to do this. Jonah, who has a warrant to search the residence, interferes with their separate therapy sessions. While Archie diverts Jonah's attention, Tony is able to conceal himself and cautions Ziva to avoid him. When Jonah eventually departs, Archie hesitantly implies that he is a dark empath, someone who prioritizes their needs over those of others and has a great talent for manipulating people by connecting with them. This suggests that Jonah might simply be taking advantage of Martine. Even if he thought he was in love with her, he would destroy her as soon as their objectives changed. Naturally, the next astounding TV milestone in the spin-off follows. Ziva and Tony discuss their emotions with real words. They want to be together again and rightly admit that they have changed over the past 5 years. Naturally, they spend a passionate evening together to further solidify this feeling. However, when Tali calls the following morning and casually states that she doesn't think they should be together due to their differences, the vibe is immediately destroyed. As usual, there are many issues in Tiva's relationship. Jonah and Martine, across the street, are making every effort to get Dayan to breach Raining Fire's firewall in order to destroy the business and graves. Dayan is vital to destroying the firewall because he constructed it, which would let everyone know that Raining Fire is weak. Therefore, the company's stability and reputation will be in ruins when Jonah and Martine murder Graves. In addition to sharing their heartbreaking pasts with him, Martine discloses that she has been chatting with his son by pretending to be him. If Dayan assists, they pledge to bring the two back together. In a private exchange with Martine, Dayan warns her that Jonah is equally as vicious and nasty as Graves during Jonah's raid on Dr. Lang's residence. She is obviously impacted by the statement because, near the end of the show, she asks Jonah a few mild inquiries about his intentions without pressing the issue. Tony and Ziva are conscious of the obvious change in their relationship's energy due to the placed bug. They exploit the breach between the antagonists in the final scenes of episode 7, where Ziva secretly corners Martine in the marketplace and plays the video of Tali's attack. Thanks for watching. For more updates, stay tuned and don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel, please.